Welcome back to the show, folks. This is another upper tier drive time football update. Plenty to talk about. Huge result last night for Chelsea. We'll be talking about that. There's a couple of issues coming out of Man United as well. Massive game for them tonight against Galatasaray. A lot of talk last night on Monday Night Football about the Liverpool and Spurs situation and what happened there and all. We'll get some of those thoughts as well. Alexis McAllister could be in hot water over his comments in relation to the 12-man Spurs, all that kind of thing. Ratcliffe looking to adjust his bid as a minority investment and stuff like that. Could be very appealing to the Glazers. We got an update on that. Man City legend Francis Lee passes away. So let's get into this. We'll start Fulham 0, Chelsea 2. The goals by Michaela Mudryk and Armando Broja. Like the Mudryk goal, he looked like he was on it right from the beginning. He was fairly up for it and stuff like that. Broja's one was a little bit fortuitous. I know he ran in and he had to make the opportunity, ball cannoning off him and into the back of the net. Both goals within the space of a minute of each other really gave Chelsea the lift that they needed. And you could see last night, once he had the likes of Broja back and stuff like that, you could see some of the stuff that Mauricio Pochettino was trying to do with Chelsea and stuff like that. But unfortunately, what comes out of that now, last night, both boys having to be substituted due to injury. We don't know the extent of the injuries at the moment. We'll have to wait and see what comes out today in relation to that. But Chelsea staring into a massive fixture list now. A fixture list from hell, you could call it, where they're going to be playing a lot of the top teams now, and they can ill afford any more injuries. I think going into the game they had 9 or 10 injuries. I think they were top of the injury chart. Now with this 2 heaped on top of that as well, and key players as well. Mudryk will be key for them. And it was good to see last night, like when we talk about Jadon Sancho on the show and how he reacted to the criticism from Erik ten Hag. There's been a lot of criticism from Mauricio Pochettino aimed at Mudryk as well, and yet he's embraced it. He's kicking on. He's getting a better understanding of it and stuff like that. So let us know your thoughts on that in the comments. A big win for Chelsea last night, a massive 3 points. They really were struggling, and a loss last night or a draw would have really put them under an awful lot of pressure. So let us know your thoughts on it, Chelsea fans. You must be happier today, although the injuries kind of put a dampener on it a little bit. As we said earlier, Man City legend Francis Lee has passed away. Always very sad when some of these legends pass away and stuff like that, but what a baller this guy was. Absolute terrier out there on the pitch. Fantastic player and stuff like that. So RIP, our thoughts and prayers of course, and condolences go out to Francis Lee's family and the wider Man City community of course, who will be mourning his death today. Jim Ratcliffe has decided to, considering changing his bid to a minority stakeholding in Man United, which might suit the Glazers down to the ground. We've seen some of this in the last week or so with Liverpool selling off, FSG selling off a minority stake in Liverpool. So this could follow suit here and suit the Glazers down the ground. The Qatar bid has reacted to this, so it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out now. But we wait and see for the latest update on that. Big game tonight, United versus Galatasaray. A lot of issues with this at the moment, a lot of issues and all surrounding it and stuff. Hard to know what way this is going to play out. Could be really, really interesting. Going to be a tough game, not going to be an easy game. United under a lot of pressure at the moment to get a result in this. Could be absolutely massive for them. We know that Anthony is now back in the squad. He's given all the information to the authorities in relation to the allegations, stuff like that. He's fiercely going after them. So it looks like he could be back in the squad for United tonight, and he could actually play. Be interesting to see what way the reception goes on that one. It's going to be a tough one though, looking at that Galatasaray side. I looked at it last night. I didn't realise the quality in that Galatasaray side. Icardi up front, of course Wilfred Zaha, ex-Man United and Crystal Palace boy. Dries Mertens there pulling the strings. Davinson Sanchez, ex-Spurs player, in defence. Not sure whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but certainly it's a massive game. A lot of pressure on Erik ten Hag. A lot of pressure from the fan base as well, talking about Marcus Rashford and, trying to figure out and justify his selection at the moment, which is an interesting one as well. A lot of the fan base looking for him to be taken out. A lot of talk came out of that the other day in relation to the Palace loss and stuff like that, but a loss tonight now could put them in really difficult water, especially within the table in the Champions League and all that kind of stuff. I don't think anyone at the moment is calling for Erik ten Hag's head, but I think, you know, a loss tonight, potentially not qualifying out of the Champions League group, you know, way off the pace in the league. You know, what is it, 5 losses in 9 or something like that, or 5 losses in total in 8 or something like that, or whatever it is. You know, it hasn't been a great start to the season, and team is looking, you know, void of any kind of structure, formation, leadership, so blunt up front, very little creation for the boy Highland. Rashford way off form, and we know how vital he was last year, the amount of goals he scored. So if he's not banging them in, United really do have problems. But let us know your thoughts. Mark was on the mashup last night talking about United, giving his thoughts on it as well, so actually go check out that episode as well. But really important that they find a way tonight to get a result. Not too much worrying about the actual performance, just try and get over the line and get the result and push on into the weekend. Big game coming up for United as well against Brentford at the weekend as well. That's not going to be easy. We know Brentford aren't brilliant at the moment, but they will certainly show up against United, no doubt about that. Let's talk about Liverpool. A couple of things on Liverpool. We heard Carragher last night talking about the officials just froze. We heard Gary Neville talking about it as well. Originally was kind of siding with Liverpool, but then when Liverpool released the legal statement yesterday, he kind of backtracked. I don't know whether that was Sky playing their card or what it was. I don't know what Gary Neville is expecting Liverpool to do. They were absolutely blatantly robbed in the eyes of the world. Are we not supposed to react to that? Are we supposed to just let officials do whatever they want and all this kind of thing? So let us know your thoughts on that as well. Interesting to get your thoughts on it. But also Alexis McAllister now could be charged by the FA after posting that 12-man jibe at Spurs. We also want to say as well that the racial abuse that Dogie received, no one condones that in any way, shape or form. The club is going to do an investigation into that, and the people found responsible for it will probably get lifetime bans and stuff like that. So we don't condone that in any way, regardless of what went on in the game, regardless of the outcome, regardless of all that. There's no room for that anywhere in society anymore. So we definitely, we don't condone that whatsoever. Luton versus Burnley tonight. Massive game, refixed game from Luton Stadium not being ready at the start of the season. But this is a massive game. This is a proper relegation 6-pointer. Luton coming in off the back of a win, no less. You know, Burnley struggling to score goals, playing nice football, but can't put the ball in the back of the net. That's what the game is all about. But a lot of pressure on Vincent Kompany there at the moment as well. There's only so many matches you can come out and say that, yeah, we're playing nice football and stuff like that before you have to start putting 3 points on the board. So let us know your thoughts on that one as well. Really, really important game for them tonight. And it's a bit, I said it to Mark last night on the Monday mashup as well, it's a little bit kind of sour, isn't it, that the boys get their refixtured on the Champions League night and stuff like that, where a lot of people will probably be tuning into the Champions League and not necessarily Luton versus Burnley. So they were kind of hard done by there, weren't they, with the refixture and stuff like that. But again, what can you do? It's Luton, their stadium wasn't ready, so they have to take some of the heat off that as well. But you never know, could we be looking at Luton with back-to-back victories in the Premier League? That would be joy enormous. So let us know your predictions on that game. Should be really, really interesting. Liverpool also have officially requested the audio from the game, from the VAR and the referee and stuff like that. Be interesting to see what that shows, but the whole thing is a total debacle. I don't know really what's going to come out of this from a legal standpoint and stuff like that. I know people have been going at each other on social medias about replays and all that kind of stuff. I don't see a situation where that happens, because it opens up a real can of worms then for the Premier League and the FA. Whether it's right or wrong, who knows, but Liverpool are going at this. They're not just going to sit down. They know they've been hard done by. And this could be pivotal, you know, like as we said, if you project yourself forward to May and, you know, you lose the league by a point or something like that, or, you know, or you miss out on top 4, let's suppose you come 5th, or let's suppose you come 6th if it's 5 places and Spurs get 5th by a point ahead of you or something like that, you know what I mean? This is going to raise its head again and again and again. And the PGMOL, they're going to have to come out and they're going to have to take responsibility for this. As I said, I think every fan that went to the game, every Liverpool fan should be refunded the cost of their match trip, which was really expensive, of course, going to London for some people. People would have come far and wide from that. And I think that has to be a starting point as well, because it's absolutely disgusting the way the game was refereed. So many talking points coming out of it and stuff like that. It's a shame really as well that's the narrative, but it seems to be every Monday or Tuesday when we do these talks and we do these podcasts, instead of talking about football and the great stuff that happens in football and the goals and all the stuff we love about football, the negativity just comes in. We're just talking about officials, we're talking about referees, we're talking about VAR, we're talking about decisions, teams getting hard done by. We've seen it again, as I said already, straight away after the Saturday night debacle on the Sunday again. Issues not being, going to VAR, not being given. You know, Brentford done out of a Stonewall penalty with that Matt Turner missed clearance and stuff like that, and yet it goes and it just doesn't happen. You know what I mean? So it's the inconsistency that kills us. You know what I mean? It's just so frustrating, and it's ripping the heart and soul and the romance out of the game. We're now as fans not being allowed to enjoy when our team scores a goal, because the team scores a goal and your first thought now is to pause and go, is there a VAR review? Was he onside? Was there an issue in the build-up to the goal? So much going on, you know. And the problem with VAR now, whereas before in the past you would have had that the front man gets the benefit of the doubt, because we want to see goals being scored in the game. That's what the game is all about. Now it's the other way. Now VAR is looking for reasons to disallow goals, and it's so frustrating. So it'll be interesting to see. It was clear that the apology that the issue wasn't accepted, as I said the other day, since Howard Webb took over in October, nearly a year in now at this stage. You know, it's been nothing but sitting down just issuing apologies to teams, and half the issues that have come up in that time as well, they didn't even issue apologies. So it's just, how long do you keep on going with this thing where you just keep on apologising and you just keep on covering up for the inefficiency within the system and the issues within the system and the subjectivity that exists and all that kind of stuff? And then you couple with that with a layer on top as well of poor officiating. Mark made the point last night that the FA just haven't invested the money that's needed in order to create top level officials and referees and stuff like that. You know, as I said, when we look at European football tonight, the likelihood is the referees are practically going to be anonymous. You probably won't know within 2 days' time who the ref was. You won't see referees looking for camera time or attention being drawn on themselves. Whereas if you look at the Premier League, the matches now aren't about the two teams, they aren't about the players. It's becoming about the officials. Hence I say every Monday, Tuesday we tend to be talking about VAR and officials. And it's very, very frustrating. And don't get me wrong, refereeing is not an easy job. I know Mark, who does it and stuff like that. I've been coaching teams where I've seen referees getting verbally abused and having to abandon matches and stuff like that. So I've been at the front end of this at times, and I know how difficult it is to ref. I know how difficult it is to get every decision right and stuff like that. Mark has experienced it himself firsthand. He told the story last night about the red card, yellow card situation that he did, where you feel, as we said, these guys are the custodians on the pitch. These are the guys who are supposed to be managing the game to the rules and stuff like that. These are the guys who are supposed to be more proactive. These are the guys who are supposed to be avoiding giving cards. These are the guys who should be, as I said the other night with that Diogo Jota one, he could have went over to Jota and he could have put a hand on him and said, listen, calm it down, or your next one's going to be a second yellow and a red. Simple little conversation with that with Jota, maybe that tackle, that second one doesn't happen. Regardless of what you think about the first one, whether it was a yellow or not, for me it's not a yellow. And the second one for me is probably not a yellow as well. But it just felt the other night, right or wrong, whether those referees were just gunning for decisions. He was just gunning to dish out cards and all that kind of stuff. And just referee lost total control of the game. So let's see what comes out of this. Going to be very interesting to see what comes out of this audio. They have agreed to release it. I don't think they had any choice, because I think we would have went legal. But yeah, poor again, a poor showing again. And this has probably been the worst showing for both VAR and the officials that we've seen in a high level game. And this was a huge game, as we said last night. It was, really, really massive game, big build up, both teams in good form, both teams pushing well up the top end of the league and stuff. So it was massive. And to talk about these officials being away in the UAE on Thursday, officiating games, stuff like that, moonlighting out there for Saudi Arabia and stuff like that and all. So the whole thing just stank, really, when you go through everything on it and stuff like that. Really, 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 really poor. But what else can I say about it? We know that we heard the news yesterday that the man accused of headbutting Roy Keane has been released on bail till October. So we'll see what comes out of that. That's basically it, folks. That's all the news at the moment. Champions League coming at you tonight. I don't think Arsenal will have a problem away to Lens. I think they'll be fine. All eyes will be on that Man United versus Galatasaray game, and it's going to be very intriguing at 7 o'clock tonight, or 7:15, whenever it is, when the lineups are released. Erik ten Hag has a lot to do today, and a lot on his mind, a lot of decisions to be made. Has to get it right. Has to find a way to get United humming again. This is a massive game. This could be, dare I say, a watershed moment match in United's season. The wrong result here would be very hard for United fans to palate. So yeah, let us know your thoughts. I'll be back tonight. I'm going to do a review of the Kurt Angle documentary. Was absolutely excellent. Really, really enjoyed it. Gave us a real insight into, what it takes and the drive to become an Olympic champion and then succeed in pro wrestling and everything that comes with that, and the efforts and the life that you give up to entertain us as pro wrestling fans and stuff like that. So tune into that. I think it's going to be at 7 o'clock, I think, because the Champions League is on at 8. As always, folks, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, drop a like on the video, and share the content. We'll talk to you again real soon.